For anyone not watching the video of this interview, you showed the pad of paper you have next to you, and it's just a super unremarkable yellow pad of paper people could buy anywhere. Is there any difference in the pad that you bring with you? Any favorite notebook brand? And then can you maybe go a little bit deeper on why physical versus digital? Because I think most people have something similar, but most people I've talked to have maybe a notes, document or something like that, or they use the notes app. So I'm curious why physical for you.
Yeah, I'm notoriously tool agnostic, which is a fancy way of saying that I don't think it matters at all. So just like the saying, hey, the best diet is the diet you can stick with, the best tool is the tool that you like using, the one that you can stick with. I think the Notes app on the phone works just fine. My general, I would say objection to using it, but my hesitancy to using it, as I see the phone as an attentional rabbit hole, and so often I open up the phone to take a note, and before I know it, I find myself on social media or reading the news or doing something that I wouldn't have decided to do before I opened my phone. This is an ongoing experiment of mine that seems to pay a lot of dividends, is to remove all of the use cases that require using my phone. So I only want to use my phone for calling and occasionally for sending a text message if I'm not at my computer, and for using maps. Anything other than that in general, I don't want to use my phone because I find that time outside of the phone on average is going to be more valuable than time inside of the phone. So that's my main objection to using phone and digital tools in example in general. It's not that they don't work. It's not that they aren't great. It's not that there's a lot of benefits to having things digitally saved that I'm sure many people have talked about. You can search there, you can access them wherever you are, even if you don't have your notebook. It's easier to organize all that type of stuff. But me, I'm primarily optimizing for capture. And if I find any friction to taking a note makes it less likely that I'll take a note, I can always decide to do something with it later. One meta point around notebooks or pens or any tool in particular is, I think you shared this with me, is part of the mindset of being a designer is being really sensitive to friction. And, again, this can be a blessing and a curse, right? If you're constantly just ruminating about how things could be better and how annoying things are, well, that's not optimal, obviously. But the flip benefit side of this is they can be really sensitive to this friction. And this becomes a prompt to, all right, is there something that I can do to make this more streamlined? It's like things that seem like trivial inconveniences. I'll give an example is my meditation pillow that I have here. It's a little bit too low to the ground and I can't get my knees above my hips. Sorry, I can't get my hips above my knees. So when you're sitting for a half hour, I get a little bit of like pain and discomfort. And just that trivial inconvenience of my meditation cushion is maybe 6 inches too low makes it that much less likely that I'm going to sit down and meditate, all things being equal. So a really silly thing like, oh, go out there and splurge. But if you're sensitive to these differences, hey, I can make this small change and make it that much more likely that the future version of myself does the things that I want myself to do. Right? It's operating at this meta level of what do I want my future self to do? How can I make it more likely that I do that? What conditions support that? So there's a sense to, hey, if the tool that you find that you're using doesn't bring you joy in this sense, like maybe try using something else and see if that changes something. It's an opportunity to experiment, but recognizing that what works best for you is only what works best for you.